Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan. Today I'm very excited because I scored big this morning. I was out doing some bourbon hunting, about an hour and a half, making the circuit, making the runs, and I got there just in time. As this came off the truck, never even hit the shelf, but we got Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend Bourbon. This is the latest batch, so this is batch 205. This is so fresh that the website, Joseph Magnus website, does not even have the notes up for this batch yet. They've got up to 194, so everything past that, including mine, 205, not accounted for there yet. And this is bottle number 338, so we're going to crack this baby open. This comes in at $200 a pop, so this is not a cheap investment. So I'm going to let you know if it is worth your time, your money, to go hunting for one of these. Love the bottling on this. Got the ribbed shaft there, nice tall shaft, and then the like gilded, lettering on the leather colored label. It's hard to read. Like you have to like hold it sideways and get the light on it just right to read the lettering on it. It is very opulent is the word. It's very opulent. It makes me think of Ron Burgundy. Come back to my apartment where I have many leather bound books and it smells of rich mahogany. That's the vibe I get off this bottle. So let's chat a bit about the cigar blend before we crack her open. So a few things to know. First and foremost, this is a blend of bourbons that it used to be age stated, is no longer age stated. So it is supposed to be juice that's between 11 and 18 years old. So it's supposed to be bourbon that is between 11 and 18 years old in this blend. And then it is finished in Armagnac, Cognac, and Sherry casks. And if you're not familiar with what those are, obviously sherry is a wine. There's a lot of sherry finished scotches out there. But then Cognac and Armagnac, if you don't know what those are and what the difference is between the two, these are distilled wines. So Cognac is distilled wine that comes from a single kind of grape, just one. And then Armagnac is a blend of 10 different kinds of grapes made into wine, distilled into distilled wine spirits, Armagnac. And both of those, Cognac and Armagnac, are then aged in oak barrels. We recently just covered the Old Elk cigar cut on the channel, so if you haven't seen that video, feel free to check that one out too if you want to do a comparison of the two. But Joseph Magnus, they've been in the business for a while doing this, and people rave about this bottle. They go nuts about this bottle. But that being said, there has been rumors of late that the cigar blend is tapering off, but it's kind of a contested opinion. I think this is a popular opinion to have about things that have sort of created a big name for themselves. People get hypercritical then. If something rises to the top, it's like being a superstar in the NBA. They get to the top and then everyone's always asking every year, after everyone recognizes that they're exceptional, then the critic comes in and they're like hypercritical, analyzing everything they do. Or, is he losing his edge? Is he losing his touch? And that's the story of Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend. So lately the batches have been under greater scrutiny as we've lost that age statement. People are wondering, is this as good as it used to be, even though the price point is still $200? Let's find out for ourselves, eh? So this comes in at 114.9 proof. This is actually higher proof than the previous wave of batches, if I remember correctly. So this one's gonna be a little bit hotter maybe. All right, plastic's off, nice little seal on there. I always relish this moment, the decorking of a bottle that I'm excited about is like I don't know, it's the simple things in life, right? It's the simple things, and that's one of the things that to me I'm like, I always look forward to. I just like doing that. Bonk. Along those lines, I remember I had a $400 bottle of whiskey that I was very excited to dive into, and it was at night, kids were in bed, and I got my Glencairn out, and I was getting everything set up. I was ready to do the pour, and I walk into the other room to get something, and I hear thunk, and I was like, huh? I can run back in. My wife's sitting there smelling it. She's like, oh, that smells really good. I was like, oh, honey. She's like, oh, did you want to do that? Bless her heart. But now we always joke about that. She's like, I'm gonna come in there and I'm gonna decork every bottle. If I'm ever on her nerves or something, I didn't do the dishes. She teases me with that. But anyways, here we go. Let's do it. Man, what a great label. Isn't that label just gorgeous? Friggin' beautiful. Here we go. Frick yeah. There she is in all of her goodness. Beautiful color on that, isn't it? Almost like a redwood kind of a color. Leaving a nice little film around the glass here. It's not producing like these giant, thick, viscous runs, but we do have a nice little coating on the glass. See that on the rim there? See that line across where it was rolling around? Now you're starting to get those runs dripping down the side of the glass. I love that. I think that tasting a good whiskey is a very sensory experience, and I try to appreciate every aspect of it, including the visual enjoyment you get out of just rolling it in the glass. Let's nose it. Definitely an initial wave of heat on the nose, but I smell leather, some sweet brown sugar, plum, and toasted pecans. Absolutely beautiful nose on this. That smells heavenly. A little agitation brings more of that plum note forward, and almost a tobacco note too, but I don't know if that's too on the nose. Let's taste it. Oh, the two things I get hit with up front on the palate of that, it's very fruit forward. I get this nice blackberry taste in there, and that leather is front and center, and then it transitions into those toasted pecans and brown sugar notes that we got on the nose. Fruit to brown sugar and nuts, and then into a little bit of spice and leather on the finish. It lingers on that little tannic spicy note for a while. I am loving that blackberry note on this. Comparing that to the Old Elk cigar cut, this one is more fruit forward, while the Old Elk was more bitter chocolates on the front end, and it then transitioned into like a black cherry note towards the finish. This one is fruit forward. It comes at you with those blackberry notes and transitions into that lovely sweet brown sugar toasted pecans before finishing it all out with that leathery spice note on the end. What a wonderful sip. So we got to score this per my scale, and that's the hard part. I'm like right on one of the thresholds. I'm trying to figure out if it's enough to just crest the hill, or if it's just right on the cusp of it. You know what I mean? I think I gotta do it. I'm gonna give that a flat 9.0. That will be an exceptionally high rating for me. I don't think have I handed out a 9 yet this year? I don't think I've handed out a 9 yet this year. I'm gonna give it to Joseph Magnus. I'm gonna give it a 9. That is phenomenal, innovative, superb. Ticks all the boxes. Okay, big shout out to TJ and the crew over there at Bridge Street Market in downtown Grand Rapids. Hey, you guys are killing it. You're out there crushing it for us bourbon hunters right now. I really appreciate you guys going after and getting this. If you are in the West Michigan area, I do recommend you check them out, the Bridge Street Market, downtown Grand Rapids. They didn't pay me to promo them or anything, but they tend to really go after some niche things that come in on the weekends, and they're worth checking out. And yes, they do get Buffalo Trace stuff from time to time, if that's your jam. Ooh. Man, speaking of jam, that blackberry jam on that front end of that palate is incredibly good. So there you have it. Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend Bourbon. Batch 205. Bottle 338. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hey, if you did, would you do me a favor? Maybe hit the like button, leave me a comment, consider subscribing for more whiskey content. I'm actually really excited because one of the master distillers at one of the craft distilleries on the Beam campus emailed me this past week, invited me to come down and do a tour of one of their newer distilleries and see what they're up to, and set up a private tasting for me and some boys. So that should be a lot of fun. I'll keep you clued in on how that goes and what we learn. Cheers, my friends. May you live richly and get better with age. Like whiskey.